لَقَدْ حَقَّ الْقَوْلُ عَلَى أَكْثَرِهِمْ فَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. The truth has become absolutely manifest. What that means is the truth has become absolutely clear. The word has become proven itself to be true. To the vast majority of them, they still won't believe. فَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. And they're not going to believe. Allah is saying something just mind-boggling here. He's saying most of them are actually already aware that the word you're saying is absolutely what? True. And they're still not going to believe. In the previous ayah, they have a long history of having no clue. In this ayah, they have every clue. They know. They know. And they still won't believe. But the question arises, if they're not going to believe, what's the point? Why even tell him, you go warn these people and they're not going to believe? Let's start at the top though. How did the truth become absolutely clear to them? There is an undeniable combination. The perfect word of Allah and the perfect character of the Prophet ﷺ. That's how guidance happens, right? Messenger and message, the both of them are at their peak. The greatest messenger and the greatest message ever, those came together. So even the kafir, the denier, deep down inside knows there's no way we can respond to him. That is in fact the word of Allah. And Allah, I could not have known that, you could not have known that, even the Prophet could not have known that, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah takes a good look inside their hearts and then does a diagnostic analysis and then reveals the ayah. The truth has absolutely become clear. The word has become absolutely true to them deep inside themselves. And for most of them that's the case. They already know. They're just not going to believe. Now, isn't it interesting that the Quran is enough for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a validation? Didn't he validate the Prophet in the beginning? He says it's not just enough validation for you, it's also validation for them. Don't worry. You don't have to think it's not convincing enough or it's not getting across. It got across. I'm telling you it got across. They're just not letting you see it. Now, the question then, the other beautiful thing about this ayah, scary thing too, Allah says they will not believe. فَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. The word yu'minun is a verb. And when the verb is used, it means it's temporary. Meaning for now they're not going to believe. But eventually, something might happen that they will believe. Now what is that? That's actually an indication in the Quran, a principle that is mentioned several places in the Quran. Please pay attention to it. The stubborn disbeliever who rejects the truth even after knowing the truth, there does come a time when he or she does believe. You know when? When they see the punishment. When they see the punishment, they decide, Inna mu'minun. Like Allah says in Surah Al-Dukhan, Rabbana kshif anna al-adhab, inna mu'minun. Rabb, remove the punishment from us. We're ready to believe. We're ready to believe. Absarna wa sami'na. Farji'na na'mal salihan. We see now, so we're ready to listen. We see, now we're ready to listen. Allah here says they don't believe for now, almost alluding to the fact that eventually, when they see the punishment, what's going to happen? They will believe. But He tells us other places, أَنَّا لَهُمُ الذِّكْرَى. What's the point now? I asked you to believe in the unseen, not in believing in something you can see, even an animal can do. A cat can see a fire and wow. That's not an accomplishment. It's not called belief for that reason. So now here He says they're not going to believe, but then the most important part of this ayah, I held off till the end. I asked you a really hard question. If they're not going to believe, then what's the point? Why are you telling me to do an impossible job? There's one word in this ayah, one word that answers that question. He says, لَقَدْ حَقَّ الْقَوْلُ عَلَى أَكْثَرِهِمْ. The truth has become absolutely clear to most of them. And even then they won't believe. If most of them won't believe, then who will? The least of them will, yes? There's a small minority among them who will believe. And the Prophet is being told, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you need to warn all of them because you don't know which ones might believe. And I'll let you know though, most of them won't. It's not called a tough straight path for no reason. Just work with the fact that you're only going to get a few. And I'm not even going to tell you who they are. If you could just tell me who they are, my job might become easier. I just go after them, don't waste my time with everybody else. Nope, not going to tell you. Just most of them won't believe. And by the way, seriously, they're not going to believe. Like, how stubborn are they? The next ayah will tell you, إِنَّا جَعَلْنَا فِي أَعْنَاقِهِمْ أَغْلَالًا. No doubt about it, we have put collars, metal collars in their necks. Like a thick collar made of metal, bracelet thingy like this. And it's got chains on it. When does someone have that? No, think more than punishment. Prison. This is prison. They've got these guys chained next to each other, one to the next, to the next, to the next. Each one of them has a collar. فَهِيَ إِلَى الْأَذْقَانِ. It goes up to the chin. So this collar is like this, it's up to the chin. And they're walking like this. فَهُمْ مُقْمَحُونَ. Then their necks are being held up. That's how, this is an imagery of prison. I want you to remember, this is an image of prison. What does that have to do with this? Allah is not telling you that if you go to the Quraysh, if you go to Abu Jahl right now, you're going to see a collar on his neck and he's going to say, could you please take this off? It's really uncomfortable. No, no, no. Is this a visible or an invisible collar? It's an invisible collar. But you know what? I need you to understand the imagery of prison first. These people are chained, which means they're in prison. And if they're in prison, they're cut off from the outside world, yes? Because when you're in prison, you don't know what's happening where? In the outside world, which means you are unaware, clueless, and heedless. Is there that word already come? Ghafilun. Why are you ghafil? Because you're in prison. And if you have a collar like this, you can't really look around, which means you can't even know what's going on in your immediate surroundings. You're even more heedless, more clueless. And then you have to say that in prison, if somebody gets thrown in prison, you should be able to say, why did they deserve it? Why did you go to prison? In order to go to prison, you have to be charged with a crime, yes? But the ayat before already charged him with a crime. The truth already became clear to him. The word was absolutely manifest to them, and they still didn't believe. That's the crime. And when that's the crime, they should go to prison. But then you don't just go to prison, your punishment should fit the crime. You ever heard this phrase before? The punishment should fit the crime? Now, so far what we know about the punishment is he's got a collar right here. On his what? On his neck. Did Allah say He knows the truth in His heart? Did He allude to the fact that He already knows what's the truth? He did. So the truth is in his heart, but he's too arrogant to let it out of his mouth. It gets stuck in his neck. It never makes its way to his mouth. He holds it in. That's why they're called a kafir. Kafir means someone who buries the truth. Kafir is also used for a farmer who plants the seed, because he buries the seed. So the fact that they keep it under their neck itself gets locked up. The crime is right here. They could say it, but their pride keeps them. But then I want you to think also about the fact that when you hold your head up like this, and you don't have a collar, what is that? That's pride. The image of a prisoner having his neck up like this is a humiliating image. But Allah compares that head up high with the proud disbeliever who, out of his arrogance and his stubbornness and his pride, refuses to listen to this message. He thinks that he's being proud. Allah calls his pride a prison. He calls it a prison. He's in prison. He doesn't even know that he's enslaved by his own pride. It's incredible imagery in the ayah. Then last thing about this ayah, when you do have this collar on your neck, can you see yourself? No. Forget being unaware of what's happening outside of prison or around you. You can't even take a good look at who? Your own self. فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُمْ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. He made them forget themselves. They can't even see their own selves. إِذَا أَخْرَجَ يَدَهُ لَمْ يَكَدْ يَرَاهَا, Quran says. If he would take his hand out, he almost can't even see his own hand. This is how bad their situation is. That's how stubborn they are. But their stubbornness, Allah is not. When I read this ayah, I was like, okay, probably Allah is going to move on to the next subject now, because that's enough of a beating. There's another ayah. وَجَعَلْنَا مِن بَيْنِ أَيْدِيهِمْ سَدًّا. And right in front of them we put a wall. وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ سَدًّا. And behind them we put a wall. فَأَغْشَيْنَاهُمْ. We covered them. فَهُمْ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ. Then they can't see. You're in prison, you're chained to other people, there's a wall in front of you and there's a wall behind you. Why didn't he mention walls on the sides? Because when you're chained, you can only move what? And you can't even look around because you have a collar. So all you can see is front and back, that's it. You can get pulled back or pushed forward. That's it. The image is being completed. They are only headed in this direction. Now what did Allah say? There's a wall in front of them and there's a wall behind them. What is the purpose of a wall? You can't escape. Another purpose of a wall is you can't see beyond it, yes? That's what makes you unaware. But there are 3 blocks. Wall in front, wall behind, and cover on top. This is really, really important. When I say really important 2 times with saying really, really, that means it's really, really important. If I just say really important, I'm just trying to keep you awake. But if I say really, really important, then it's really, really important. 3 blocks. The first block was where? Right in front of them. I need you to understand what that means. There's a block right in front of them. You know what's right in front of us? Everything. When I wake up, my house is right in front of me. When I go downstairs, my kids are right in front of me. When I go outside, the sky is right in front of me. When I get in the car, my car is right in front of me. My friends are right in front of me. Quran is right in front of me. All of life, all of Allah's creation is always where? Right in front of me. And that creation, that life, that sky, that earth, that tree, that child, that spouse, they are all reminders of Allah. All of them. But they are blocked from this. So they see all of that stuff, but none of it reminds them of Allah. None of it is enough for them to think. They are blocked from that path to truth. In other words, the first wall is the wall of creation. I want you to understand what that is. Everything Allah created is right in front of us. It's always there. You're not always reading Quran. You're not always doing ibadah. You're not always doing, but you know what? Whenever you're awake, what is always in front of you? Creation is always in front of you. Something to reflect upon with your eyes is always there. That's the first block. The second block is where? Behind them. What is behind us? Our history. My own history, my people's history, the history of other nations, that's all where? They don't look at the world around them because of the wall in front of them. They don't even care to reflect upon what happened to people before them. And so they have a block even behind them. Now there's 2 so far. There's the world around you, number 1, and there's history, number 2. But then that's not enough. They're blocked somewhere else too. Where? فَأَغْشَيْنَاهُمْ. We covered them from the top. Now if you block him from the top, there must be something you can learn from the top that may give you the truth. If you pay attention to the world around you, it might lead you to the truth. If you pay attention to history, it might lead you to the truth. And maybe there's something from above that might lead you to the truth. What is that? A revelation of Allah. Now that's blocked from their hearts too. Quran will describe, no matter where you study in the Quran, there are 3 ways you can arrive at the truth. You can pay attention to the world around you, you can pay attention to history, and you can pay attention to revelation. That is the constant 3 in the Quran. When you pay attention to yourself, you're paying attention to you are part of the world around you. سَنُرِيهِمْ آيَاتِنَا فِي الْآفَاقِ وَفِي أَنفُسِهِمْ حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَهُمْ أَنَّهُ الْحَقُّ. The world around you is the first path to truth. Every human being has access to that. History. Those who care to think about history will arrive at the truth. And of course, the most powerful way to the truth is the one that comes from above. These people are completely blocked. So forget about the revelation. They're not listening to the revelation. Before, the Prophet was told, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that these people are not going to listen to you, even if it's Quran, which is from above. That's not their first crime. They don't even pay attention to the world around them. They don't even care about the ruins. They passed by ruined nations. The Arabs used to pass by ruined nations and didn't think twice. What would have happened here? How did they end up like this? They never thought about it. Never occurred to them. Therefore, they're just not going to be able to see. What an image, guys.